Welcome, everyone. Today we'll be talking about maximizing retention through competitive compensation and benefits packages. I'm Sharon Alamalhoda'i. Research suggests that frontline healthcare workers feel underappreciated and undercompensated. Just 44% are happy with their salary, while only 51% are happy with their benefits. Retaining your top performers has never been more challenging or more important. Fair and competitive compensation goes a long way towards encouraging your employees to stay with you. Good employees are any practice's most significant asset. You need to put them first, treat them with respect, and invest in their well-being and development. Competitive compensation is part of that. It reflects the value you place on the work they do for you. Fair pay is a compensation package that is equitable and appropriate for the value of the work performed. It's based on factors like education, experience, and skill set, rather than demographic factors like age, gender, identity, race, or sexual orientation. Fair pay can help eliminate discrimination and unconscious bias, and can also embrace companies' diversity, equity, and inclusion. An employer offering a salary that is equal to or exceeds the industry standard for similar jobs in that geographical area are going to be also competing for the same employees. When you have competitive pay, you're using salary rates to compete with other practices to secure high-quality employees. You probably know the saying, location, location, location. That doesn't just apply to where you should set the real estate goals. It also has a bearing on your starting compensation, as well as how much your salary bumps up. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, wage and salary rates increased 4.5% between September 2022 and September 2023. That category increased at a pace of 4.9% in LA. But wages and salaries increased by only 3.5% during that period in San Jose. But what if we leave California altogether? Here are some changes in salaries and wages for the same period in the following cities. Detroit changed 4.1%, Boston 4.7%, and Seattle 4.9%. Inflation is one of the biggest factors that affects people's compensation. Put simply, this is the increase in prices within the economy as a whole. Although it seems negative, low but consistent inflation is a normal part of how the economy functions. However, it can be detrimental to people when it rises too fast. Consider the situation in December 2021, when the Consumer Price Index, which measures overall cost increases in the economy, rose 0.5% from the previous month and 7% from December 2020. When you remove food and energy prices, the index rose 0.6% from the previous month and 5.5% from the previous year. When price increases on this type of scale, $1 doesn't go nearly as far. People generally expect to get paid more in order to keep up with the rising prices. They may even need a pay raise to make ends meet. However, this may not always happen, as practices determine salaries with a variety of factors. Employers want to maintain or increase levels of profitability and avoid committing to yearly inflation-based pay increases, which could prove costly to fulfill in the long run from their perspective. Furthermore, wages are often determined by the state of the labor market as a whole, and the market for that specific position in that specific industry. It's often said that wages are sticky and not the quickest facet of the economy to respond to inflation. As a result, workers' real income and purchasing power typically declines in times of inflation. A competitive pay rate can influence an employee's overall job satisfaction. Staff who feel they're being paid fairly are more likely to stay motivated and go the extra mile to help your practice achieve its goals. Competitive salaries can also lead to lower employee turnover, high morale, and an overall positive vibe. Focusing on competitive pay, though, should not lead you to forget about other aspects, such as providing continuous training, developing a positive company culture, and implementing perks like wellness plans, all of which can help you attract and retain qualified workers. Remember, in addition to determining competitive salaries for your company, make sure to continually adapt your salary and compensation policies to keep up with the fluctuating job market or employee needs. Most employees expect to receive salary increases after working for a certain amount of time. Top performers who consistently exceed expectations expect to be paid a salary that reflects their hard work and is equal to their level of responsibility. Employers must offer competitive compensation to maintain positive retention rates. Just a quick break. Who is iTech Training and what do we do? We train techs and develop administrators. And we are putting on these webinars and sending newsletters out because we want to be the ultimate resource for ophthalmic administrators. I conducted a poll this week of practice administrators and asked, what is your primary concern in your practice? The top two answers were falling reimbursements and maximizing productivity, which go hand in hand. With falling reimbursements, practices have no alternative except looking for ways to increase productivity. If you're in this situation, let's talk about our practice evaluations to maximize their productivity in each area of your practice. We evaluate templates, use of space, placement of equipment, throughput, clinical and administrative efficiencies, and provide a comprehensive report outlining observations and the actionable steps that you can take to get the most out of your team, doctors, and facilities. If you'd like to learn more, please visit our website. Here are some strategies to consider when increasing pay rates. First, be transparent about your budget. In the case of salary increase negotiations, be upfront about what you can offer. If your business budget allows only a 3% increase, disclose that information in a one-on-one meeting with the employee in question. It's better for them to understand that you're doing the best you can. Employees may also feel a sense of satisfaction when they know that they're receiving the largest pay increase possible. Offer bonuses instead of base rate increases. One practice that saves you money in the long term is offering regular bonus opportunities instead of base pay increases. Base the bonuses on performance, experience, and other factors. Offering regular bonuses may increase employee motivation, and bonuses offer instant gratification and can be a useful tool for rewarding productivity and success in the workplace. Keep raises consistent. Be fair and equal when distributing raises. This is a crucial part of offering salary increases. Providing higher raises to higher paid employees or allowing biases to influence your decisions can cause friction, conflict, and dissatisfaction among your employees. Remember that providing fair pay isn't just important for morale. In many cases, laws such as the Fair Labor Standards Act requires you to pay individuals equitably. So establish clear criteria and a set of guidelines for determining raises This can help reduce the influence of personal bias and ensure that all members of management responsible for determining pay increases are using the same criteria to evaluate employees. Explaining how the pay raise was determined during salary discussions with employees can help reduce the risk of perceived bias and protect your company in the event of disputes. Maximizing your earnings over a long period of time usually means changing jobs rather than staying in place. Even if it's not quite so common as it once was, it's still very normal and possible to achieve a pay increase of 10% to 20%, if not higher, when changing jobs. Switching jobs is still the most common path to the best pay raise. If one stays at the same practice, their annual increases may be restricted by their current base pay. Encourage the employee to stay if an employee is highly skilled and has an excellent record. It would likely be easy for them to get a job with one of your competitors. People often find they can renegotiate a significantly higher pay rate with a new employer. Offering a raise to these people who are thinking of leaving can help to ensure their loyalty and continued commitment to your team. Don't immediately say no when an employee comes and asks for a raise because they have an offer elsewhere. Think about the cost it takes to hire, onboard, and train a new employee, typically 50% to 200% of that person's annual salary. If an employee tells you about an offer that has been made to them at another practice, don't think about this situation like you're being held hostage. They're giving you an opportunity to counter an offer elsewhere. If they didn't want to stay with your practice, they wouldn't even tell you about the offer. They just give their notice. Typically, when they tell you about another offer, it's because they'd rather stay with you. However, they also have to think of the pay difference in regards to their family's budget and goals. As your company grows, you want your employees to grow with it. An essential component of retaining and growing your talent base is giving pay raises to your employees. A pay raise increases the hourly or salary pay your company offers its workers. And for any business owner or manager, knowing how to discuss increases to a paycheck is proof of your ability to be a strong leader who considers the needs of your staff. It also shows that you value their time, expertise, and dedication to the company. This can not only increase the trust your employees have with you, but it can also boost morale and overall job satisfaction. However, discussing salaries with another person can be a sensitive topic that needs to be handled delicately. Here are some tips and guidelines to follow when communicating a pay raise. First, explain why they're receiving the raise. Be specific. Highlight specific contributions that they've made. Discuss the raise in terms of dollars and not percentages. Then thank them for their hard work. Recent years have significantly changed the employment landscape. All sorts of companies everywhere are battling to recruit and retain talented employees. In an economy where workers may have the upper hand, the first response of employers is often to raise salaries and wages. However, research shows that a competitive benefits plan is increasingly vital in attracting and retaining skilled workers. Look through the list here on this slide. There are a lot of very creative ways to offer benefits to your employees that are very much valued by employees, but may not cost you very much. Most importantly, employees care about benefits that address their health and wellness and tuition reimbursement and flexibility. Provide an annual total reward statement that calculates and itemizes the full cost of compensation individualized to each employee. And this should include base pay, incentive pay, employer's payroll tax contribution, the full cost of the health benefits, paid time off, retirement savings match, tuition reimbursement, and more. Be sure to include all benefits, tangible and intangible, so your employees can get a full picture of what they're receiving. It's also insightful for employees to see a comparison to the previous year so they can see how their compensation is increased outside of their weekly paycheck, such as new benefits or incentives. The goal here is to make it easy for people to know how they are being paid and what benefits they have, while also setting clear expectations for what growth might look like in the regards to salary ranges or merit increase schedules, for example. Thank you for joining us today. Our next webinar will be on Thursday, June 27th at 2 p.m. Eastern. It will be regarding recognizing and retaining at-risk staff. This is an important part of retention, is creating a culture and a situation within your policies and procedures so that you can first identify at-risk staff that are at risk of leaving your practice, and then creating a situation where they want to stay with you. And that's what we'll be talking about in our next webinar. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you have any questions, here's our contact information. Have a good rest of your day.